One of the most amazing things about Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam, amongst the multitude of amazing things about Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam, is the fact that we got so many awesome, over-the-top, kick-arse 80s mobile suits one after another, so often in fact that they actually just lasted a couple of episodes. The designs were amazing and they just kept coming. And one of those was this right here. This is the Bolinoak Sammahn, a ridiculously over-the-top mobile suit in pure, unadulterated Zeta Gundam fashion. This was in Zeta Gundam for about 2, maybe 3 episodes, and it still got a model kit. That is a testament to just how amazing Zeta suits are. Now let's check it out. Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm taking a look at the high-grade Universal Sentry Bolinoak Sammahn from Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam. This right here I got from those absolutely fantastic people over at HobbyLink Japan, so I will throw a link in the description. Now let's get this absolutely ridiculous mobile suit built. Alright, so let's get this ridiculous yet awesome mobile suit out of the box. This is the high-grade Bolinoak Sammahn, and this is exciting. For me anyway, I'm not sure for other people how much this will be. Well, I was building the Zeta Gundam and the Zeus silhouette, and I was just absolutely staring at this box instead. There's quite a lot of parts in here, definitely. Yeah, quite a few. Okay, so first off, this is the manual. This is what it's going to look like when it's done. It does have a bit of a bear-esque look to it. Apparently, the name, in case you're wondering, I got this right off the Gundam Wiki, by the way. It may not be true that the Bolinoak Sammahn is actually just a play on a Japanese camp song called Mori no Kuma-san. So that's apparently where it comes from. So, like a bear. A forest bear. Maybe that's why it's green. But anyway, around the back, we can see everything's doing. A nice little bit of a crouch right there. And as for the instructions, it's the usual look. This looks nice. And we do have 12 runners in here, which is more than your average high grade. And that's not including the beam effects, polycaps. Funnily enough, there's polycaps in here for a 2024 build. And we do have some stickers as well. It'll be interesting to see why the polycaps are in here. But anyway, let's get started. So starting off straight away with the feet, and these are extremely nice. So we've got that Japanese bleach bottle green building up onto the feet, and so far we've got an inner structure, some armor that pops on, and you can see into the gray inside. Nice. That locks into position with a nice little bit of gray armor like that. Some red detailing on this little thruster section, which slots nicely through this final bit of armor, which attaches on there. So there's the foot, and we've got a bend up and a slight bend down. Moving up to the leg now, and this is where one of the polycaps actually comes into the equation. This is the hip joint, so it's a polycap inside of this little section, so the usual kind of upper leg joint. Next up then we build the knee section, which just looks like that inside. It's a large peg going through this hole right here, and there is no lower section in there. It's just one piece like this on top. These two parts we just built combine together like that. And then we've got some subtle but very nice red detailing, once again like on the feet on the front, well that's the back, but also on the front like so. So this comes from underneath through the upper armor. Speaking of the upper armor, this is it. We've got a little piece of armor that slots on in, connects in just like that. These then attach onto the piece we just built, just like this. And I will mention there is a funny little nub inside of there, so be careful when you're actually cutting out this little section. Usually when there's parts poking out like this, I don't expect them to actually end up nubbing up in the end. That one is one that definitely needs cleaning up. Next up in here, we do have to attach on a couple of stickers. This is the sticker sheet in here. It's predominantly just the yellow section, so there is no yellow runner in here at all. So any yellow color on the kit is 100% stickers. The other ones then are for the mono eye and that funny top of head this particular unit has. I don't know how that's actually going to work out. But anyway, you just stick them on like so and like so. There's 2 per each leg, so that's a total of 4 across the legs. However, it really is just the yellow that is the letdown with the color separation, because we've got more of these nice red vent sections on both sides. Quite an interesting set of ball joints. They pop on in there for the ankle, and then the lower leg is the usual kind of thing. There is no frame inside of it. It's just empty like so. This section we built pops on in like that, and it closes up just like so. The final couple of pieces then are this dark gray section, well, dark blue maybe even, or blue-gray, knee armor. Finally then this green section just pops in here like that, and that is the leg complete. Finally combining the leg and the foot, and there we go. So as for the articulation, we've got the turn up there. There is the bend in the knee. Not bad for a chunkier mobile suit. We've got a little bit of downwards movement in the foot, and a little bit of upwards too. So slightly limited, definitely, but still not too bad. Onto the waist unit now, and this is pretty simple. There's not really a whole lot to it. It's essentially just a simple pair of mecha Y-fronts. Anyway, the first of 2 polycaps that are in this is for the waist joint. This section then just pops on like so, and that is basically what makes up the vast majority of this. We do have a little bit of a dropping mechanism in the hips, but maybe about 2 millimeters. This second of the 2 polycaps attaches in there, which I assume is for the base adapter, and that then just attaches into the back just like so, and you finish it off with this front piece of armor that slides on through a nice little bit of a locking mechanism down bottom, and that really nicely clicks into position. So there, that is the waist unit. Again, nothing much, just a bit of a dropping mechanism here. Onto the torso now, and this is a whole lot of fun because we do have an absolute ton of nice, big, huge parts in here. So that right there is the neck joint. Interesting. Very simple right here. You just pop that neck in and then close up this whole area. The waist segment is just 2 pieces attached together very simply like that. And that just pops into a ball joint pointing backwards like so. So that right there would be your waist. So there is a bit of an ab crunch in there and a little bit of side to side. Not a whole lot, but not nothing. Collar in that darker shade of green pops on simply. Now we've got some absolutely colossal armor sections. These are nice, just big and to the point. So that just attaches on like so. So far we do not have the standard backpack on here. It would not be a Gundam bad guy mobile suit if it didn't have some kind of piping somewhere. So there's 1 and there's 2. So these Xeon guys and Axis guys and all of those different Xeon related mechanics and engineers seem to love their pipes. After that, then the front section of the armor slots on and under like so. Bit of squeeze into that. Some more dark green detailing pops onto the arm cuffs that attaches on so nicely. These are nice big parts, but they just fit on so perfectly. And we do have a bit of what I assume is the cockpit hatch section right there. A little bit of pen lining too. Sometimes that gets a little bit blown out, but that does look nice. Get some ink in there. Now, earlier on I did mention mistakenly that there is no yellow plastic in here. There is no specific yellow runner. That comes on the multicolor A runner, so I did miss that. So there are 4 yellow parts in total on this kit, so this is color separated quite nicely. There we go. 2 sides to each of these arm joint segments. And the final assembly to that torso is to pop on this little bit of armor right here. And then those shoulder joints just pop inside. So there are no polycaps on the shoulders or in the torso whatsoever. So it seems like there's just selective use in this particular mobile suit. It might be for the sake of compatibility and at compatibility points like the waist and the hips. Anyway, that's done. So these here can move like so. So there's a little bit of movement to those. The neck can move as well. This can stay out of the way for the ab crunch. The ab crunch is right there. And these are articulated too. So it'll be interesting to see what they do once it's all put together. So onto the shoulders now, and these have polycaps in them just like we would have seen in the waist. So there's the polycap. The second part just attaches on over it then, like so. Next up here is the shoulder armor, so that is directly attached into the upper arm part. We've got an articulated flap right here. That then closes up just like so. And we do have a 3-tube missile launcher up here in the shoulder, but as you can see, these are not color accurate. They are just molded in the color of the plastic. However, the cover for popping on top, that does color separate it nicely. Down at the elbow then, it's a simple 2-point elbow joint. Some armor then just slides on down from the top. This is a kit right here which is somewhat asymmetrical in the arms at least to go with its weaponry. They're not as asymmetrical as I would have assumed from the overall look of the design. The wrist attachment down there at the bottom, that is a polycap, so it seems to be mainly just the ends of limbs that do have polycaps in them. There we go. We've then got a bit of bracer style armor for on the back of the arm, just pops on like that. And another nice piece of color separation just pops on into the arm right there. The final buildup requires a hand first, so that just is 2 pieces in gray, attaches together just like so. And then the buildup is just the wrist of the hand in there. The upper arm attaches in like that. And then the shoulder attaches on like so. And the only thing that makes this arm different from the other arm is the color of the forearm. So you can see the forearm on this arm is in that kind of dark navy blue, almost gray. But we do have this big old section that attaches in to the back of it like that. So there is what both arms look like once they are complete. So when it comes to the backpack, this seems like it might be the most amount of building on the kit. These two sections at the center, armor then builds onto both sides of that like so, and like that. A nice bit of color separation in this upper part, attaches in like so, comes around on that side. That then pops up top on this big old unit, and that is quite large. Next up in here we have some verniers. These are double layered, which is always very nice. So that is red inside green, and then on the very bottom we need to pop on a polycap ball joint. So from here on out you're going to be popping a lot of little red cups into some verniers. There are 3 in total of these ones right here. Well, there are 4. There's a spare one, but you only do need 3. I don't think there is a spare green cup, actually. I think it's just the red segments inside. We've got these guys as well. You build them up by just popping a large, a medium, and a small into those, and there are 2 of those guys. Then we've got these large kind of thruster or binder sections here. They just pop together like that. Polycap ball joints on these. There are 2 of them. That's 1. And there is the second. We do have to whip out this sticker sheet for this backpack, so I need a 10. All right, they pop in there like so. Not sure exactly how I feel about these. They don't attach in that great, but they do add that little bit of color. And we also have some tiny stickers for these little segments down here. These ones don't fit too bad. We've got some more thrusters, possibly fuel tank adjacent, or well, in fuel tanks. Hard to kind of tell, but these are incredibly nicely designed. So red verniers pop in as a plus shaped segment into the bottom like so, and that's what we get. So finally then attaching this together is vernier, vernier, vernier. These booster sections attach up top. There's 1, and there is the second, and then these ones fit down the bottom like that, and like that, and there is the inside aspect of that. This cool little ball aspect looks great. So next up in here is the head, and this is definitely a unique design. So there are 2 of these, so I built 1 already. The color separation is decent enough. It's actually hard to tell, so I guess it means they're not so bad, but those cheeks right there are stickers. The mono eye is a sticker too. These sections up here, those are actual yellow parts. Let's build one. First off, for this head, we do have the wacky holographic sticker from the top of the head. Thankfully, this does stick on to the underside here, not actually onto the outside of the clear part, so that's very good. The other half then sticks onto this bit. There we go. The clear part then slots in like so underneath like that. This is probably why there are actually 2 full heads in here, because you won't be able to actually swap this out once it is finished. With the other option, which is the gray version, the face attaches onto this little part right here. Like I mentioned, we do have stickers for the cheeks, but surprisingly they're not that bad, mainly because these are recessed parts. So once they're popped in there, yeah, not bad at all. We've got this small pink sticker for the mono eye. The mono eye is on a little moving disc section inside of the head. There is the sticker. It actually catches the light, not too bad. And then the final assembly just involves throwing that into the head and then just popping the top of the head on. And actually that worked out quite well, that funny little holographic head. No, not bad at all. Lastly in here then we build the shield adjust. We've got a part up here, some yellow in here, so they did put a lot of effort into this nice claw. As for the arm sections, we've got to pop in these polycaps. Be careful with these, I dropped them twice, they're really annoying. And then they close up like that. To continue on the claw section then, we just pop this lighter green section there. This bit attaches onto the other side like so. These attach into the bottom of this shield, giving it a very squid-like shape. And this then all closes up with this big, nice panel like so. So this is a big claw. Ooh. One final piece pops on right here, and these things here are its beam weapons. So they just attach in underneath like this and like this. So the beam saber aspects are actually pointing out from the bottom, which is pretty nice too. Alright, so final assembly time. There is those Mecha Y fronts right there. You just pop on the legs like this and like that. Upper body then pops in here, so it seems like the main kind of joints are polycap, including this shoulder which pops on like so. There is the other one. The backpack then attaches on like so. The pipes actually move nicely in underneath, so that's cool. And finally then, we do have the head which pops on. I'm just gonna go with the standard one for now. So at first I was thinking this isn't really all that big, but it definitely finished up quite large. Let's check it out. So now jumping into the aesthetics, and there is the Bolinoak Sammahn finally finished, and all I can say is, it is really nice to have a kit that isn't just a Gundam. They're quite rare these days, especially from an older series like Zeta, so it's nice to see them get some love. Overall, this is an absolutely fantastic looking kit. We did see during the build that there are a few stickers used in its build for some of the yellow parts, but overall, it comes out relatively unscathed when it comes to color separation. It is extremely nice. So there is a bit of a front and rear view of what it does look like finished. Now this, when it comes to Gundam kits, is a very atypical looking style. It's not like anything I've ever built before. Zeta designs are all ridiculously unique, even in their own right. Within the series, like, none of them really look the same. They're so experimental and so cool. Moving down to the torso, and once again, this is not really like any other kit out there, is it? It's almost barrel-shaped. We've got great color separation again. There was two little panels on the front right there that I couldn't help myself but to actually panel line those, but otherwise the panel line detail and stuff on this kit is a little bit on the sparse side, but I guess that is sticking with the actual design from the anime. Flipping around now to the backpack, and this is one of those kits that has more going on around back than it does round front. We've got tons of verniers in red, the color separation is great. The only thing that isn't really color separated that much is the little yellow sections that are up in these points, but otherwise this does look nice. There are some seam lines through the top of these little thruster sections, but besides that, this really is a masterpiece of a high-grade Zeta backpack with all those thrusters in red, tons and tons and tons of them, and there really isn't too much building to it. It just is layered up and designed so nicely. When it comes to the arms on this kit, they are asymmetrical, which gives it a nice, unique kind of look. It would be more asymmetrical once the weapon's on. I'm leaving that till the aesthetics, but overall very nice, and we do have some nice color separated little sections right up here, which do house what we saw were not color separated missile pods. The legs do feature some absolutely stellar color separation. The only thing that isn't color separated are those two yellow sections you can see right there. Those are stickers, but all the red and all the rest, that is all completely color separated, and everything looks great and nicely detailed. It really does look like it just stepped right on out of that 1980s anime. So last up there is a little bit of a size comparison beside the high-grade Oryx 78-2 and the high-grade Gundam Mark II, so it is a fairly sizable mobile suit. Beside the Hyakushiki and the Zeta 0088, and beside a couple of random high grades being the high-grade Gundam Calibarn from the Witch from Mercury, and the high-grade Rising Freedom Gundam from Gundam Seed Freedom. So now jumping into the accessories, and here's the Bolinoak Sammahn with absolutely everything it comes with. What it comes with is the giant shield, these huge combination beam weapons, an alternate head, as well as an alternate left hand. So when it comes to the hands in here, we've got the pair of fists that have been on here the whole time. Now I would say these are standard Gundam holding hands, but not necessarily. They're a good size larger than your standard Gundam's hands. They are the square style fingers, and they're nicely sculpted, definitely. They are just two parts. That is the back of the hand and the, well, actual hand, and overall they do look quite nice. The optional hand we have in here is a left hand widespread hand, and just like the other hands, it is nice too. Larger than your average high-grade hand because it's a big mobile suit, and overall I guess it's very handy. Swapping these out is the usual way, you just pop it off just like so, and the alternate one just pops on like this. We don't have any weapons for, wait, actually we do have weapons for using in both hands, so I guess we'll be seeing that holding hand very soon from now. So next up in here we do have an alternate head. This is the head that's been on the whole time, and the only thing different between this and the other one is the top of the head. This is a dark navy blue with 3 little panel lines in the back, and to swap to the other one you just yank off the head you don't want like so, simple. And before I actually attach on the other version, I will point out that we do have a moving mono eye in here. The part for moving it is around the back of the head here, so you're probably going to have to remove the head to do it, and you just slide that side to side. So if it's in the middle, it's looking dead ahead. If you slide it all the way across, it'll be looking the opposite side. So that is pretty handy and really cool. Definitely a lot better than just a stuck in place mono eye. Anyway, getting the alternate head popped on, it pops on just like that, and that looks absolutely ridiculous in the best possible way. So like we saw in the build, this is a combination of a holographic sticker underneath, a very interesting, almost kind of honeycomb-esque kind of mold in the clear part. So that does really definitely get that Bolinoak Sammahn kind of sensor feel across quite nicely. That's cool. So next up in here, we've got the beam sabers. Now, these have a lot going on. According to the instructions, these are a threefold weapon. It says they are a beam gun, beam saber, and beam tomahawk. So basically, this is both the beam saber and the beam tomahawk going. Pop this off the bottom, and we've just got ourselves a beam tomahawk. And vice versa, if you pop this in here, remove this off, there you go, you just got a beam saber. So a handy dandy weapon right there. So just popping these into the hands as both variants, just so we can get a look at them. In order to do this, you do need to remove the back of the hand, which is very simple considering that this kit has very large hands. These just kind of hang out in there so they don't fit flush. That could be a little better, especially I assume when it's in heat tomahawk mode. Actually, once that back goes on, it holds ridiculously tightly. Okay, that's good. Popping it into the hand just like so. Same then over on the other side. Pop off that hand. I've got this one with the tomahawk in it already, just like that. So anyway, now getting into a little bit of a pose so we can see what those beam tomahawk, beam sabers can do. I will mention that the articulation on this is quite nice. However, I'm not sure why Bandai did go with the polycaps on this. I'm not sure if it's for compatibility with older kits or something like that. But they already feel like they're loosening up, and I've been this is my first time really posing it, especially in the waist. It's having a lot of effort holding up that backpack, so there is a bit of looseness in here. But once you do get it in a pose, that right there is what it looks like, and it does look very, very, very nice. It's got more articulation than you'd expect it to, but like I mentioned, a bit loose in the waist. Also, it's heavy. So yeah, that is worth thinking about when you're grabbing yourself an action base. But yeah, either way, the beam sabers are quite nice. These sort of big beams have been around for a while, and the beam saber blades are nice too, just in yellow. And it is interesting to actually see a kit with a big old piece coming out the end of a beam saber, but hey, I don't hate it. It is unique. When these are not in use, they can be stored in the bottom of the shield, and that is literally why I left this shield until last to take a look at. So these just pop in under, like that there, and like that there. These will definitely be difficult to get to once you actually attach it onto the arm, so that's the main reason I did that. Also, both the beam saber holds are available while this is attached, so that means you can actually throw these in there too for some cool, quick access beams. Very nice. So to attach this on, it just attaches onto the bracer aspect of the right arm, just like so. It's a nice solid attachment. I did just leave the beams on there for you to see them being used from that, but as far as I know, this is not a canon way of using the weapon. So there we go, there it is with that big shield attached, and this is ridiculously cool. If this wasn't heavy enough already, it's super heavy now, and as for the movement on this, it can close forward just like so, and these can move pretty much together like that. So it can close all the way, and there it is all the way open, so a lot of nice articulation to this right here. So finally now into the articulation, and this is a mixed bag. The articulation on it is absolutely fantastic, and I do love it. It's got some cool, interesting aspects that are a bit wacky, like the fact that you can turn the forearm just like so. So you still have a bend here and then a bend here, moving the arm at a ridiculous angle, which totally makes sense for a robot. But this suffers from one really kind of annoying aspect, and that is the fact that some joints are quite loose, like the hip. Then some joints are quite tight, like the knee. So while trying to bend the knee, other joints tend to bend too. So it's the kind of combination of polycap with plastic on plastic joint just doesn't work all that great. So there is the knee, and it does this nice kind of closing thing from there to there when it's opening and closing, which is very nice. But the waist joint is absolutely atrocious on this. It's, again, a polycap. Hold on, actually I take it all back. It's not the polycap causing the issue. It's this plastic on plastic joint inside of the body. So that one right there will need to be tightened up, and I'll be tightening that one up the minute I finish this review, because it is quite a bad one. It's always kind of rattling around, and when I actually get it into a nice crunch forward for a pose, it immediately just drops back out of it. So that's really kind of sad. The more he's back, the more he drops. So that's an incredibly loose joint. When you actually do push it in all the way, it was pushed in all the way, it does hold at first, but then it starts to kind of work its way out over time. The polycap as well isn't strong enough either, so that whole part is going to have to be reinforced. But anyway, as for the pose, Getting into the pose you want has that issue I just mentioned. Some joints are quite tight and some are quite loose, so it means the loose ones will always go when you're trying to work the tight ones, and it can kind of be a little awkward. All the polycap ball joints can fall if you do move them around a lot, so it's not awful, but it's not perfect either. It will need a little bit of extra work from yourself just to tighten everything up so it feels very perfect. However, what you do get in the end is quite impressive for such a big and lumbering mobile suit, so this can pull off the usual pose quite well. Overall, it is nice, but like I mentioned, you may have to tighten up a few parts. So anyway, that right there is it for the review. Again, this is a quick one because I'm trying to get a kit a day built to get as many of these kits done this year as possible. This right here to me is a gold tier kit. When it comes to the visuals, it's absolutely fantastic. The only letdown is a couple of yellow stickers here and there, but that isn't all that bad at all. We've got a nice clear part in the head, the verniers look incredible, the piping incredible, the armor, the color, everything fantastic looking. When it comes to the accessories, these are cool. The giant claws really nice, the beam sabers and stuff is nice, the alternate head instead of just alternate parts is very, very nice, and overall, accessories wise, very impressive. The only thing that does kind of let this kit down a little bit is when it comes to the articulation. The articulation in general is fantastic, definitely considering the fact that it is a big, lumbering, unusual shaped mobile suit, but the use of polycaps in some of the joints was an odd choice, and they can be a little bit on the loose side, but that waist joint tends to loosen up a lot when you're moving it around, so I do recommend tightening that up too. But overall, fantastic kit. If you love Zeta kits, this one will be right up your alley. Once again, I got mine through Hobby Link Japan, link in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back tomorrow for another Gundam video, and I'll see you then. Once again, I kind of finished this video right here without special thanks to the channel members and the patrons over on Patreon, including Simon Paskin, Abraxas, Caleb Engelhart, Joe, RG59061, ShadowWolf179, Van Fawn, and Scotty Thomas.